So it's finally happened. Zero Tolerance has finally dropped a brand new knife model. Now, including myself, people were worried. People were wondering, like, what is going on with Zero Tolerance? Why haven't we seen anything from them lately? Well, now we have a brand new folding pocket knife design from Zero Tolerance, and Kershaw's Launch Series just dropped some new models as well that I also have a video on. So definitely check that out. But let's get a close look at the new Zero Tolerance 0545. So the new model from ZT is a very slim EDC knife. It's extremely lightweight. It has a drop point blade in MagnaCut steel. Now the MagnaCut blade is only 81 thousandths thick. Super thin geometry. Behind the edge is 20 thousandths, which I'm actually kind of happy that, that's where it's at. That's kind of a happy medium area because the geometry is already so thin, it's very, very slicey. And we're going to talk about sharpening the MagnaCut here in just a second because we do have a full review. So the handle is a carbon fiber show side with a titanium frame lock, and like I said, very, very slim. It has two standoffs in the back, and this thing is extremely slim, extremely lightweight. I would consider this a light duty EDC, but that's also going to be its benefits, because it's so slim, so lightweight, so easy to carry. It's going to be something, you can easily have in your pocket and never even know you have it, but yet you have a full size knife when it opens up. Now, with the opening, it does have, in my opinion, two forms of deployments. I know you only see the flipper tab, and the flipper tab does work very well. Great flipping action. The detent is very, very well tuned, very snappy, but it does have a second deployment. You can reverse flick the blade. And it is, I wouldn't even call it a secondary deployment if it wasn't so unbelievably easy. I mean, like, it's so easy. I don't see how anybody cannot reverse flick this. I can even thumb flick it. So, so I consider that a second deployment on this particular knife because it is so easy. Like I don't even have to put pressure onto the blade. And the detent's not light. It's just you have plenty of traction on this stone-washed blade. And the stone-washed blade is very nicely done. Love stone-washed finishes. The titanium also has the same stonewash, and the lock bar access is really good. I love that they cut that back. Very comfortable disengagement. It is riding on bearings, which are very, very smooth. Not a false shut, but Zero Tolerance is known for having really good action, and this is no exception. It is very, very good action. Now, as far as cutting performance and stuff, so let's talk about the cutting performance, the ergos, and then we'll talk about sharpening. So the cutting performance, super good. This thing passes through materials like butter. I mean, it's slicey, it's 81 thousandths thick. 81 thousandths thick is like the thickness of a couple razor blades put together. Like, it is very thin geometry. So because of that, it passes through materials very well. Now the handle is very slim in the hand, so it's not going to be a handle that you're going to want to push through wood or anything super dense. But as far as just regular light duty EDC things, cutting straps, ropes, zip ties, cardboard, plastic, tape, things like that, this thing will do great. But like I said, it is very slim in the hand, so it's definitely not something you're going to want to bear down on, but it's not that kind of knife, so that's okay. Now, as far as the sharpening goes, utility cuts. The utility cuts, it's a drop point blade. Utility cuts are going to be great. This is going to be a knife that, it has a nice acute tip, without it being too dainty. So it's not going to be fragile, but it's going to have, the perfect angle for doing utility cuts and opening things up, doing the pinch grip, and it also is very manipulative in the hand, by the way. I can turn it around and cut straps. I can turn it forward and cut, cut cardboard. I can pinch it and do the utility cuts. It doesn't have the flipper tab in the way when you open it. It kind of is just a place for your finger to rest. So that adds to the comfort when using it. Now, sharpening it. I did sharpen this up. I first, I've had it for a little while, so I have honed it, a couple times and brought the edge back a couple times. But then it got to the point to where the edge wasn't coming back anymore. I needed to sharpen it. Plus, I wanted to test their MagnaCut, at least a little bit. So I sharpened it up to see how it felt. and I have sharpened some of their Magna Cut on their launch series before, so I've sharpened some of their Magna Cut. Now I believe they're heat treating it to 62 HRC, which we'll talk about in a second, but it sharpened up really well. It felt good on the stone. You know, it didn't feel extremely hard, but it felt good on the stone. The burr came up really, really well, and when it came time, after going through all my stones and getting to my last finishing stone, and when I was deburring, the deburring process went really well. I flipped the burr maybe 4 or 5 times and it popped right off. Brought it to the strop, gave it a few passes on the strop, and yeah, it came out extremely nippy. The edge has a lot of bite, a good level of sharpness, you know, and the results came out really well. So very happy with that as far as the sharpening and everything goes. Now, as far as the steel goes with 62 HRC, I believe that's what it's at. Don't quote me, but I think that's what they told me with the at least with the launch series from Kershaw. But at 62 HRC, I do wish it was 63, 64 HRC. And, you know, I guess we can kind of transition into a couple negatives here. So one negative is, you know, I wish it was 63, 64. Now, I'm not mad at 62. 62 is fine. I've tested Magna Cut at 62. I've tested it at 63. I've tested it at 64. I've tested it damn near at 65. So, you know, I've tested a wide range of Magna Cut, and it seems Magna Cut does the best, in my opinion, especially for folding pocket knives, around 63, 64, you know, or plus, you know, just depending on what you're wanting. But as far as where I find that the greatness comes out of Magna Cut, it's usually 63, 64. Now at 62, that doesn't mean it's bad. It's still really good. It's still going to hold an edge for a very long time. You know, it's a super tough steel, extremely stainless. So, you know, all in all, you know, it's going to be perfectly solid and great for everybody. You're just not going to have as much edge retention as if it was 63, 64, but you're going to have a little bit more toughness. So, and also that's when I was sharpening, that's why I didn't take it to a mirror polish. I did keep it around a medium grit edge. And the reason why was because of that reason, because I find that Magna Cut at 62 HRC does best with a medium grit edge. When you raise the HRC and you get it 63, 64 plus, it takes and holds a mirror polish very, very, very well. But not saying that it won't hold a mirror polish the way it is right now. It's just, you know, from my experience, I prefer, you know, 62, you know, with a medium grit. Now, not everybody's going to have that same experience. You know, this is my personal experience with Magna Cut. So, you know, everybody's going to be different, especially with your use and everything else. So one negative that I would say is, it's a nitpick. It's very small, but the flipper tab works really well. It works great, so it's not bad. I mean, it's super snappy, you know, but I wish there was one more jimping right there. You know, just right there on that corner is slippery. However, you know, it's still very easy to get right over the top of it and just use the jimping that's on it, because the jimping that's on it works very well. But, you know, that little corner is just a little bit slippery. It's a small nitpick. It's nothing serious, no deal breaker. The action's phenomenal, so I don't want to, you know, make it seem like it makes me, like it's irritating in any way, because it's not. It's not at all. You know, other than that, you know, I could add in like little things that I would like to see, you know, but as far as negatives, like things that are wrong, things that are bad, things that would like, you know, that I would consider a negative on the knife, I don't have a lot of those. You know, the things I have are very, very small nitpicks. You know, anything I could say would just be more preferences and little things that I would love to see added or whatever. Now, as far as negatives, you know, more negatives, there's really not a lot of bad here. This is really, really well done. You know, it's the sharpening tool and plunge grind's good. They did good lock bar access. The clip works very well in and out of the pocket. The action's really good. You know, it's rock solid lockup. You know, it came perfectly centered. There's really no negatives. You know, the only thing I could really complain about is, you know, I wish the Magna Cut was a little bit harder, you know, which is not that big of a deal because it's not like horribly soft. It's just, you know, it could be up, you know, up a little bit higher. But all in all, man, I like it. I think this is a knife in my opinion, I think this is a knife that's going to fit right next to like the Benchmade Bug Out, the Hogue Deca, and things like that. I think that's its competition. I think its competition is in that realm, you know, with the other light-duty EDC knives. Now, the one cool thing is that this one's a titanium frame lock. So that's pretty cool, you know, to be a titanium frame lock this light, this slim, you know, and it's not too slim. It's very slim, but it's not too slim. You know, there's been some recent models out there that have been a little bit too slim, in my opinion. This one is still, you know, decent, but it is very slim though, and it does get a little narrow over here. So if you're gonna bear down, you will feel it back here because it's nice and slim, but, you know, like I said, it's not a knife to be bearing down on anyways. You know, unless if you have to, which, you know, in that case, it doesn't really matter, right? All in all, I am very happy to see Zero Tolerance coming up with some more knife designs. Hopefully they continue this. I'll tell you what, I would love to be a designer with Zero Tolerance. I would, or Kershaw. I would absolutely love to design, especially if it was their USA line, their launch series, or even just USA line period. I would like just love to design a knife with these guys. I think everybody is rooting for Zero Tolerance, you know, regardless of your arguments, complaints, and you know, your goods and bads of any company. In my opinion, I think most of the knife community is rooting for Zero Tolerance. You know, we would love to see them just come out swinging. I'm not sure what's been kind of slowing them down, you know, the past couple of years with putting out new models. I have no idea. But hopefully, you know, we'll see, you know, it pick up a little bit. But anyways, there you guys go. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.